In a forgotten corner of the world stood an old woman named Elena, bent over her walking stick, tending to what remained of her once magnificent garden. Years of drought had turned her paradise into cracked earth and withered stems. Her husband had passed away the winter before. Her children lived far away in distant cities, and her savings had dwindled to almost nothing. Every morning, Elena would shuffle outside to water the few surviving plants with precious drops from her nearly empty well. Her neighbors whispered that she was wasting her time, that nothing could grow in such barren soil. But Elena continued her ritual, speaking softly to each struggling seedling as if they were old friends. One particularly harsh morning, when the sun blazed mercilessly and her last tomato plant wilted despite her care, Elena fell to her knees in despair, tears mixed with the dust on her weathered cheeks. "I have nothing left," she whispered to the empty sky. Just then, a small sparrow landed on the fence beside her. The bird looked as weary as Elena felt, its feathers ruffled and dirty from the relentless heat. Instead of flying away when Elena moved, the sparrow remained, tilting its tiny head as if listening to her sorrows. "Even you look tired, little one," Elena said, wiping her eyes, "but at least you have wings to carry you to better places." The sparrow chirped once, then did something extraordinary. It began to sing. Not the hurried, sharp notes birds usually make when startled, but a slow, melodious song that seemed to wrap around Elena's broken heart like a gentle embrace. As the bird sang, Elena felt something shift inside her chest. Looking at the struggling sparrow, she realized it wasn't complaining about the heat or the lack of food. It was simply sharing its song with the world, regardless of circumstances. "You're right," Elena whispered. "Perhaps I've been looking at this all wrong." She stood up slowly, brushed the dust from her dress, and said aloud, "Thank you for this difficult day. Thank you for this challenging season. Thank you for teaching me something new." The words felt strange on her tongue at first, but she continued, "Thank you for my health that allows me to tend this garden. Thank you for this little bird who reminded me that beauty exists even in hardship." Day after day, Elena maintained this practice. When the well ran completely dry, she said, "Thank you for showing me I'm stronger than I knew." When her last plant appeared to die, she said, "Thank you for the lesson in letting go." When storms damaged her small house, she said, "Thank you for shelter, even imperfect shelter." Her neighbors thought the old woman had lost her mind, talking to herself and thanking the air for her troubles. But Elena noticed something remarkable beginning to happen. First, it was small things. A neighbor, feeling inexplicably moved by Elena's peaceful demeanor, brought her fresh water from town. Another offered vegetables from his own garden. Children who had once avoided the crazy old lady began stopping by, drawn by her warm smile and the stories she told while working in her barren plot. Then came the morning when Elena discovered something impossible. A tiny green shoot pushing through the hardest patch of earth in her garden. She had planted nothing there. No seeds had been scattered by wind. Yet there it was, vibrant, determined, alive. "Thank you," she whispered, kneeling beside the mysterious plant. Within days, more shoots appeared. Not just in her garden, but throughout the entire neighborhood. Plants that hadn't grown in the region for decades began sprouting from sidewalk cracks and abandoned lots. The local newspaper sent a reporter to investigate the miracle garden phenomenon. But Elena knew it wasn't really about the plants. As she practiced gratitude daily, her entire world had transformed. She noticed beauty she had overlooked for years, the way morning light painted her walls gold, the sound of children's laughter echoing from nearby streets, the faithful way the sun rose each day regardless of her troubles. Her gratitude became contagious. Neighbors who had been bitter about their own struggles began visiting Elena, drawn by her radiant peace. She shared her simple practice with them. Thank everything, the good, the bad, and especially the confusing. Every experience is teaching us something valuable. 1 year later, Elena's garden had become the most beautiful spot in the entire city. Visitors came from hundreds of miles away to see the woman who had transformed a wasteland into paradise through gratitude alone. Universities sent botanists to study the soil. Religious leaders called it a miracle. Philosophers debated the power of positive thinking. But Elena knew the truth was simpler and more profound than any of their theories. She had learned that gratitude wasn't about pretending everything was perfect. It was about recognizing that even in imperfection, even in pain, even in loss, there were gifts hidden like seeds waiting for the right conditions to grow. The little sparrow still visited her garden each morning, no longer weary but sleek and healthy. Elena would greet it with the same words she spoke to each new day. Thank you for everything, for bringing me exactly what I need to learn, exactly when I need to learn it. As she watched the sparrow fly away into the golden sunrise, Elena understood that gratitude hadn't changed her circumstances. It had changed her, and in changing her, it had somehow changed everything around her too. The moral whispered itself on the morning breeze. When we learn to see every experience as a gift, even the painful ones, we unlock a power greater than any magic. We transform not just our own lives, but the very world around us, one grateful moment at a time.
Thank you for everything.